Trump's gold card visa promised $1 trillion. It sold one. America just introduced a visa that costs $1 million. The idea was simple: sell residency, attract global wealth, raise up to $1 trillion. 4 months later, exactly one person has been approved. So, what happened? And more importantly, why is the United States suddenly trying to sell access to itself like a luxury product? In the winter of American immigration politics, symbolism often arrives before substance. The Trump administration's newly minted gold card visa, marketed as a fast-track residence permit for foreigners willing to part with at least $1 million, was unveiled with theatrical flourish, a gilded credential bearing the unmistakable likeness of Donald Trump, flanked by a bald eagle and the Statue of Liberty, promising to unlock life in America. 4 months later, the program unlocked life in America for precisely one person. That solitary approval sits awkwardly beside earlier claims by Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, that the scheme had generated $1.3 billion worth of interest within days of its launch, and might eventually raise $1 trillion, enough, he suggested, to help balance the federal budget. America publicly held debt exceeds $31 trillion. A single approved applicant is not, even by Washington standards, a rounding error with ambition, yet the gold card is less a policy instrument than a political artifact. It belongs to a long tradition of American proposals that promise to reconcile two incompatible instincts: hostility to immigration in general and enthusiasm for immigrants who arrive with checkbooks. The result is a program that tries to monetize admission to the Republic while preserving the rhetorical posture of exclusion, the long American tradition of priced belonging. Although the gold card has been marketed as an innovation, the idea that access to America can be financially mediated is older than the Republic's modern immigration bureaucracy. In the 19th century, migration was informally filtered by shipping fares and sponsorship networks. In the early 20th century, it was filtered by literacy tests and quotas. In the late 20th century, it was filtered by skills, family ties, and investment capital. The EB-5 visas, introduced in 1990, marked the first explicit federal attempt to convert capital into residency status. Its premise was simple: investors who created jobs deserved admission. Its implementation was less so. Authorities, intermediaries, and property developers turned the program into a pipeline for luxury real estate financing disguised as labor market policy. The gold card removes even that fiction. It abandons job creation as a moral justification and replaces it with liquidity itself. Where EB-5 pretended to serve workers, the gold card openly serves the Treasury. This shift reflects a broader evolution in how states conceive migration, not as settlement but as transaction. Immigration restriction meets capital attraction. Mr. Trump's immigration agenda has always rested on a contradiction. His political identity was forged around the promise of walls, deportations, and restored sovereignty. Yet his economic rhetoric has consistently emphasized talent acquisition, investor confidence, and national competitiveness. The gold card is the policy expression of that contradiction. It offers a formula that reconciles restriction with openness: fewer migrants overall, but more millionaires per migrant. This is not merely a rhetorical maneuver. It mirrors a structural change in advanced economies. In an era of demographic stagnation, capital mobility increasingly substitutes for labor mobility. Countries that hesitate to admit workers often stay eager to admit investors. The gold card formalizes that preference. America is thus not retreating from migration. It is repricing it. The arithmetic of fiscal fantasy, the administration's suggestion that the program could generate $1 trillion deserves scrutiny not because it is credible but because it reveals the political imagination behind it. Even at $1 million per applicant, reaching that figure would require 1 million successful entrants, a population transfer on the scale of a major metropolitan area. The United States does not lack wealthy migrants. But neither does it lack competing destinations. Singapore, Britain, and Switzerland already provide sophisticated residency pathways for high-net-worth individuals. The assumption that a million millionaires are waiting to buy American residence suggests less an economic forecast than a branding exercise. Indeed, the program structure, $15,000 vetting fees, corporate sponsorship pathways priced at $2 million and annual maintenance charges, resembles a boutique investment instrument rather than a macro-fiscal solution. It signals exclusivity, not scale. The trillion-dollar projection is therefore best understood as political theater, a number large enough to suggest seriousness without requiring feasibility. Branding the presidency, branding the state, the design of the gold card itself may be its most revealing feature. It bears Mr. Trump's portrait. A forthcoming Trump Platinum card promises extended stays without taxation on non-American income. Residency is presented not as a constitutional status but as a premium subscription tier. Such imagery reflects a transformation in the relationship between executive power and national identity. The presidency has increasingly become a personal platform rather than an institutional office. Immigration policy, once administered through bureaucratic anonymity, now carries the signature of the executive brand. This is not unprecedented in global politics. But it is unusual in American immigration history, which traditionally emphasized procedural neutrality over personalized access. The gold card suggests that access to the republic can now be stylized as a lifestyle product. United States, America enters the global marketplace for mobility. Golden visas are no longer exotic instruments. Britain offered one until recently. Spain and Greece continue to run property-linked residency schemes. Malta and Italy keep investor pathways calibrated for European Union mobility. Canada and Australia experimented with variants before tightening eligibility. These programs proliferated after the global fiscal crisis, when governments discovered that residency rights could function as financial assets. Real estate markets, sovereign debt, and regional development funds all received help from the inflow of investor migrants. The United States arrives late to this marketplace. That delay once reflected confidence. Access to America did not need to be discounted or packaged. Demand exceeded supply. The gold card signals that this assumption has weakened. America still offers unmatched economic scale, but it now competes openly with other jurisdictions for globally mobile elites. Citizenship as a hedge against uncertainty. Investor visas are rarely about relocation alone. They are insurance policies against geopolitical volatility. Wealthy applicants typically seek optionality rather than assimilation, a second jurisdiction, a second passport pathway, a second legal environment. The timing of the gold card therefore matters. It appears in an era of rising geopolitical fragmentation, sanctions regimes, and capital controls. For many investors, residency in a large rule-of-law economy functions as a hedge against instability elsewhere. The United States is well positioned to sell such insurance. But it is not uniquely positioned. European Union residency offers mobility across multiple states. Singapore offers regulatory predictability. The Gulf states increasingly offer tax advantages. The gold card success depends less on its price than on whether America still stands for the safest jurisdictional refuge available. Luxury immigration in an age of populism. The most striking feature of the gold card is its coexistence with an aggressive enforcement posture toward undocumented migrants. Deportations intensify at one end of the migration spectrum even as residency is monetized at the other. This duality is not accidental. It reflects a broader political equilibrium, restriction for the poor, facilitation for the rich. Such arrangements are common in global migration regimes. What distinguishes the American version is its explicitness. The gold card does not disguise its preference structure. It says plainly that wealth is a qualifying credential. In doing so, it transforms immigration from a demographic question into a pricing mechanism, policy as signal rather than instrument. The discrepancy between early claims of billions raised and the reality of a single approved applicant might appear embarrassing. In fact, it is consistent with the program's deeper logic. The gold card was never primarily about revenue. It was about signaling that immigration can be filtered by wealth, that citizenship can be approached through investment, and that the American state is prepared to compete openly in a global marketplace for elite migrants. Measured against those goals, one approval is enough to prove feasibility. Hundreds in the queue are enough to suggest momentum. $1 trillion in hypothetical revenue is enough to suggest grandeur. precision is unnecessary when spectacle suffices. A republic for sale, or a republic repriced, so why has only one person been approved? Possibly because demand is uncertain, possibly because vetting is slow, but, because the program was never primarily designed to attract applicants, it was designed to send a message, that America still controls entry, that access still has value, and that in a world where mobility is becoming a commodity, the United States intends to set the price, even if, so far, almost nobody is buying. The gold card captures a central paradox of American politics in the 2020s. The country seeks simultaneously to close itself off and open itself selectively wider. It wants fewer immigrants and better immigrants. Stricter borders and more capital, national control and global prestige. Selling residency to millionaires offers a neat, if fragile, solution. It allows policymakers to argue that immigration is being restricted even as it is being commodified. It converts admission into revenue while preserving the language of sovereignty. Whether anyone buys the product in meaningful numbers may be secondary. The program's most important function is symbolic, to reassure domestic audiences that entry to America is still exclusive, desirable, and expensive, while reassuring global elites that, for the right price, exclusivity is still negotiable.